Hello everyone and welcome back to Campus Channel. We're joining you live from Paris this afternoon with the Bordeaux Sciences Agro and their Masters of Business and Science. This is your opportunity to ask any question you want about their program. We're going to break it down so that you can get the information you need to make up your own mind. You ready? Let's go. And joining us today are Gregory Gambetta, who is a teacher and researcher in viniculture at the Bordeaux Sciences Agro, and Tommaso Nicolato, who is a student in the master's program. Thank you very much for joining us, gentlemen. We're going to let you have the first word. It's called the speech. Shh, the floor is yours.
Thank you. So I'm here to represent Bordeaux Sciences Agro and the new master's program there. It's a new program that was designed to kind of bridge the gap between a purely business program and a technical viticulture program, meaning one that's focused on kind of marketing and accounting and whatnot on the business side. And technical viticulture, how do you treat grapevines in the field? How do you make wine?
Okay.
That's the enological part. And everything that's involved there. And so it's an international program in Bordeaux, taught entirely in English, which is fairly rare for programs such as these. We have 15 students approximately right now from 7 countries, so it truly is international on both the sides of the students and the instructors. The instructors represent people like myself. I'm from the US, Germany, Russia, France, of course, and it's a 2-year program, and at the end you're accredited with a master's degree.
With the master's degree, excellent. Yeah. Well, that was the easy part. Now we're going to get to the questions. It's time for the face-to-face.
Dernier manche. 15.
Remember, guys, this is your opportunity to ask any question you want. It's going to come up on that little screen back there, and they're going to have to answer it, and I'm going to make sure they answer it well. You ready? Let's go to question number 1.
Question number 1 is, do you have a particular way of dealing with wine? Why choose your program and not another? Well, I can start. I mean, that's a good question. Of course, all programs are competing against one another, I guess, for the students. Right. I can say, for me, coming into the program, one of the greatest strengths of the program is that it's very integrated with the local industry in Bordeaux, and obviously that has a huge value to it.
Right.
I mean, we're in Bordeaux. It's one of the premier wine regions of the world. It gives students access to the chateau there and to interact with those chateaus and even do internships there.
Okay.
So like a big part of the program, actually, I'm going to say it's about 1/3 of the entire program time for the student is spent actually in internship.
Okay, and so do they need to have some French for that, though? Because it seems like, if you're going to go spend some time with some farmers, they might not be the ones that are speaking English.
Yeah, that's a good. How's your experience with the French?
I think
we're both non-native speakers.
Yeah.
So,
okay.
Yeah.
I think the school provides us some free courses of French to learn it a bit. What the people from the wine sector wants is to have a level of French that allow us to understand each other. Okay. And that's what I think.
You don't need to read Molière.
No, yeah. So it's something that you can.
I hope not.
Can reach in a few months of immersion. Yeah.
And well, coming from an Italian background yourself, it's a pretty similar language.
Yeah, if you come from a country that is more far, I think it's maybe better to have start some lecture just to think of French before, just to have a small base.
So you're talking about these.
It's not needed for the program, for the academic part. It's just needed for enjoy the city.
And to enjoy some of the things, because you mentioned you're learning wine techniques, technical information, and if you make a mistake when you're out in the field and you spray the pesticide instead of the fertilizer,
that could be grim. But the reality is that most people are interacting in English, and the French is there to constantly be working on, and of course we're in France, and so that's a big part. It's actually an opportunity.
Right.
It's an opportunity.
Sure, that's a good way to look at it. Let's go to the next question.
What is your requirement / wine experience, professional experience, interest, expertise?
Yeah. So what do people have to show you?
Well, we originally tried to design the program to be as open as possible. So I open in the sense of having a flexible attitude towards what your previous experience is. Someone like Tommaso actually comes from a really technical viticultural and enological background, where Tommaso went to an agricultural school already.
Okay.
But we have students that didn't do that. We have students, one student who is a professional in business in a completely unrelated field. We have students with more or less background, so we try to keep that within a certain window because we want the quality to be high.
Okay, so what is the window? You got to have a couple years.
You certainly have to have an undergraduate degree.
Right.
Absolutely.
Sure.
But
could it be in any subject, or does it have to be something?
It can be in any subject depending on your other experience.
Okay.
Yeah, we prefer that you have some subject that's related, but some people did not have a subject that was related but had lots of professional experience.
So that could balance it back out the other way.
It can compensate.
And did you know that you wanted to study wine, when you started going to agricultural school, undergraduate before?
I made at high school, I studied science.
Okay.
Then I moved to a university that is agricultural, we can say.
Okay.
And on viticulture and enology, more technical oriented.
Uh-huh.
And then I chose this program because, in my opinion, it offered me something that I didn't have the opportunity to study before.
Okay.
I already have a technical background, and I wanted to learn something on how to manage a winery.
I see. So this was
there was
specific.
nothing else on the market.
Okay, for your specific goal.
Yeah.
What about people that want to get into wine? They don't have the experience, and maybe there's somebody like me. They got a degree in medieval Italian poetry, and they're realizing now they want to get into an expanding market. Wine, it's a reliable market. Would you consider, if somebody had showed you a good motivation, would you consider that?
I think that's a little bit usually probably going to be tough unless you've actually done something.
Okay, so so some element of the experience.
Yeah, exactly. There has to be some experience and link there.
Okay, that's an important point. I think a lot of our students are going to know that. Let's go to the next question, please.
Many wine programs are delivered by business schools. You're an engineering school. What is the difference? Are you more research and technically oriented? The short answer is yes, we are more research and technically oriented. So you have the professors that are going to be teaching in the classes, especially on the side of viticulture and enology. We are all plant scientists and wine scientists.
Okay.
There's a huge research institute called the Institute for the Science of the Vine and Wine that is part of the University of Bordeaux.
It sounds like it could be like a Kendrick Lamar's next album name. Something like that. It's awesome.
It's a good place to work, and it's a world-class research institute.
Okay.
It's about a 5-minute bike ride from Bordeaux Sciences Agro, and all of the professors, me included, we all have split appointments. What does that mean? That means that I work half-time as an instructor, and then the other half I put on my researcher hat, and I'm a plant scientist who studies grapevines and stress responses in grapevines.
Okay.
And so that's what I do with the other half of my time.
Do you ever hear anything through them? The grapevines?
Yeah, I try to listen.
Yeah,
I feel like
a little bit of Marvin Gaye
something,
comes out through the other
totally.
side. Is it enough management, in all seriousness, is it enough management to get to the point that you're looking for to be able to manage a winery? Is this that kind of level, or is it on par with like an MBA from a bigger school that is kind of more geared towards maybe getting you into like an international company?
In my opinion, you cannot be a manager of a winery if you don't know how a winery works.
Okay.
That's the answer that I want to tell.
So for this, you're talking about the hands-on winery approach, which might be a little bit different than being an executive in a big multinational wine distribution.
Yeah, it's a bit different.
Okay.
But we are having some professors that have an experience in the field.
Okay.
And so they are sharing this experience with us.
All right.
And I think this is the most enriching thing.
Yeah. I think that you have to be realistic, and every master's program is 2 years long.
Right.
And you're going to learn a certain amount of stuff during that time. It just depends on your interests and where you want to see yourself being. I think what Tommaso is talking about is if you kind of want to be closer to like being able to manage the vineyard, and this is can be really practical stuff, like how are we going to prune it this year? you need to have those technical expertise, and at the same time, when you try to juggle these two things and give a balance, that does mean that it sacrifices some depth.
Right.
But
that's part of the decision. If that's what you're
exactly,
going for.
That's part
Speaking
of
of expertise, it's time for the expert question. Here it is. Will you read it for us, please?
France is losing market share on the wine market. Is France the good place to be trained? What is your vision of the market?
Wow, mind-blowing.
Yeah, a business question for the plant biologist.
Yes. Well, let's talk about it a little bit, because like you say before, this is not the same strata of goal as a big MBA or something. So what about for the technical? I mean, is Bordeaux the best place to be to learn?
Well, what do you think?
In my opinion, Bordeaux history of wine and of enology and viticulture is really strong.
Yeah.
And so, it's the right place to be, in my opinion.
Okay.
Of course, it's more what we learn is a bit more traditional compared to some new country like South Africa, New Zealand. But there are, Gregory is working on some exchange with those countries also to improve, to give to the students a better.
Does Bordeaux have the most historically, wine knowledge of any place in the world, maybe?
Obviously, it has rich history.
Right.
I mean, there's no doubt. But I think with the students, especially the international students, it's not so much about it's Bordeaux. You get everything you can from being there, and it's a rich, exactly, and it's an enriching place. But it's an international program in the sense that we're exposing them to more than just Bordeaux,
right?
And both through instructors, but also through little study trips, and also for some of the students, not all, but they can choose where they want to do their internships, and some of them will do their internships abroad.
Okay.
And so it's more about being exposed to as many different kind of knowledge bases as possible. So you're getting whichever one you came from. For example, like for Tommaso, it's this Italian agronomic, what they do there, and coming and getting something that's completely different, a completely different perspective.
And then hoping to maybe use that to complement the experience that you already know for your future career. Why don't we keep going? Because the next question kind of refers to that a little bit.
Tommaso, what is your insight on the program? Personally, I really like the program. Of course, we are building the program together. It's a new program, so it's full of innovation, and I believe that it's a good program for someone that has a technical background and want to improve and have a view of how it is to manage a winery. And
how if the fact that it's a new program, was that a worry point for you? Is that something that was kind of a concern, because
it was a quest also for me. I like to. I apply only to this program.
Okay.
Like I evaluated all the program in Europe, and I decided to apply to this one.
Okay.
Because for me it was the right one.
It was the right one. So even though that it was a relatively
I cannot say do what I did.
No, I know, but I'm saying
sometimes it can be scary to apply just for one program.
Right.
I put all my efforts in it, and I think I will be rewarded.
Because especially with an Italian background, the University of Bologna is the oldest university in the world. Established in 1066. So, then you come to a program here that's a couple of years old, and you're kind of like,
but the guy here are crazy. So
but it worked out so well. Okay, that's a pretty good insight. Let's go to the next question, please.
You're located in Bordeaux. It seems to be a great place to have a program that's centered on the wine industry, but concretely.
So you mentioned concretely. Like this 5-minute bike ride. That's something concrete. So how far, when you're in Bordeaux, how far are you from the actual vines?
Well, the Bordeaux Sciences Agro actually runs a chateau, L'Ichealde, which is 10 minutes from the university, and it's a fully functional commercial chateau. So there's no doubt. Does it have a
princess?
Excuse me.
Does it have a princess?
No. I'm sorry, it doesn't. Maybe on certain days.
It has a prince.
Yeah, and but so there's the proximity. Yeah, but I think that this question, the concreteness of it, the proximity is important. There's no doubt, because then you get the people who actually are coming into the classroom, and you're trying to get those people in the classroom more and more and more. So it's not just professors, but it's also professionals who are coming in. there's such thing as a critical mass though too, and the previous speaker was from INSEC, and for instance we have INSEC instructors teaching our program as well, and so there's a synergy that gets created, I think.
Okay, between
you know,
programs.
yeah, where we utilize teachers from both industry and other schools, and it basically gives us access to a bigger pool.
Okay, because you're in Bordeaux.
Yeah, exactly, exactly.
If I can add one thing is that we are very near also to ISBB, that is sponsoring our program.
That is the Wine Research Institute.
Yeah, and it's the most important place in the world for viticulture and enology research. So
you can't really argue with that, can you?
Yeah.
Well, then I won't. Let's go to the next question.
What is your accreditation and what does it mean? That's a good question. So the program was accredited, and forgive me, audience, because I'm not the best on French bureaucracy, but it was accredited by, I believe, the Ministry of Agriculture.
Okay.
And our school, it's a higher institution of agronomic learning. It gives master's and engineer's degrees in a variety of agronomic fields, forestry, viticulture and enology, and other stuff. So it is accredited just like any other master's degree at the school.
All right.
So
on the same, and from the specific agricultural context.
Exactly. It's accredited at the same level as any master's degree, or
and does that
in French engineer.
Okay. And does that transfer? Do other countries recognize that?
As a master's on paper, I think yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So there isn't a problem with the translation.
No. Yeah.
Let's keep going to the next question, please. Got time for a couple more.
It says on your website, it says you are at La Rochelle. I think that's Campus Channel's website. And I think that we pointed out that error, and I got an email that said it was changed to Bordeaux, but maybe it hasn't been.
To clarify then, there is no relationship to Bordeaux.
We are not in La Rochelle.
No, we're not
so
in La Rochelle.
There we go.
You
we're
were down
in Bordeaux.
in the thing. Okay.
Next question.
Yes, we'll get that fixed. Why don't we go to the next question then? Oh, great.
This is for me. What are the things you take into account during the selection process? On what basis do you choose? What are the most important things to know? It's past academic performance and degrees, professional experience, again, really important, and it can complement that. There's a first cut and a next cut, and the second cut is a personal interview that we do via Skype. In almost all the cases, and quite honestly, that's the most important part of it all. And it's the most important for two reasons. The first is because the Skype interview is when we assess the student's ability in English, and that's key. And then the other is that's when you actually get to know a student. You kind of can gauge how passionate they are about doing this. How you can ask them some more probing questions and understand like where their level of knowledge is at, etc. So that's the way it goes. There's a preliminary cut, and then there will be a Skype interview, and it's if you make the preliminary cut, the Skype interview is what is important. Okay. Yeah.
So and what about for the academic background? What kind of levels are we talking about?
Again, undergraduate degree.
Right, but
there's a variety of grading systems out there.
Right.
Yeah. So it depends on the student.
Really depends on the student.
We don't have like a threshold.
Okay, so there's no cutoff where you're like,
we don't have a threshold.
You slide it off to the side.
No, it's like if you're from the U.S., you'd be used to such a thing.
Okay.
And maybe in France too. Like I'm not sure, but in the U.S. certainly there's like sometimes a threshold.
Right.
There's no threshold defined.
Okay, but it has to be related, or there's got to be some sort of experience. Can you just tell us really quickly before we run out of time how you felt the interview went? I mean, did you prepare for your interview with them, or?
Really, I don't like to make some speech before. Like I was very direct with Greg and Guilherme, the other guy that is in charge of the master.
Okay.
They are really friendly, so it was perfect for me.
Okay.
Yeah, and another thing that I wanted to add is that they are awarding some scholarship to the best students based on merit mainly. So this is a good occasion for everybody that is motivated.
So you can look at these scholarships as an opportunity.
Yeah, the first year we offered 2 full ride scholarships to the program, and we hope to increase the number over time.
Sure.
So and they're they're merit-based.
And they're merit-based.
Largely, yeah. We do take into consideration need, but the primary driver is their merit-based.
Okay, excellent. Yeah. Well, I want to say thank you so much, guys, for sitting down and spending some time with us. To everybody else who's watching, if you have other questions, I'd be more than happy to hear from you. Don't hesitate to get in touch with them. We'll see you next time. Thanks so much for watching.